Jack Taylor last night shattered a record that had stood for more than half a century, and he wasn't even playing that well recently, but boy did the shots fall.
On November 20th, 2012, a little-known college basketball player by the name of Jack Taylor would score 138 points in a single basketball game, and the world went crazy. Overnight, Jack became famous. Suddenly, Jack was on talk shows, he was on ESPN, he was the subject for countless articles, and he became the face as the new official record holder for the most points to ever be scored in a single college basketball game. Then, to make things even crazier, the very next season, Jack would do it again, this time scoring 109 points in another unbelievable effort. At this point, understandably, Jack felt like he was on top of the basketball world, only almost as quickly as his fame came, it was gone. As despite his record and despite the fact that he would go on to lead the nation in scoring the next 2 seasons, Jack never made the NBA, he never played overseas, and eventually went as far as to say that basketball had let him down and that he never wanted to even watch the game of basketball again. This was of course strange and means we have to ask the question, what exactly went wrong here? So what's up guys, Mike here, and yes, today we are going to be talking about Jack Taylor, the man who scored 138 points in a single basketball game. You heard that right, 138 points. This video is insane. Trust me, Jack's story is just amazing. Before we get started though, I do want to say, in 2021, the goal is 2 million subscribers on this channel, so if you are new to the channel or are just not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe so we can hit that goal. Guys, I think we could do it. I think we could hit 2 million subscribers together, so make sure to subscribe. I appreciate you guys so much, and now let's talk about Jack Taylor. Now, normally when I begin a story, I like to provide the background of everything that is happening, but 138 points calls for a difference in storytelling, which means let's just jump into the greatest scoring output of all time. Let's watch as Jack Taylor shattered the previous NCAA record of 113 points with his own 138 points. So here we are on November 20th, 2012, and Grinnell is ready to take on Faith Baptist Bible. Up until this point in the season, sophomore guard Jack Taylor had struggled as he had shot just 11 for 41 in the year's first few games, and maybe he was just getting the misses out of his system because on this night, things would certainly change. From the game's opening tip, the points would of course come at a rapid pace. Taylor began to knock down three-pointer after three-pointer. He blew by defenders and either finished at the rim and drew a foul. He was seemingly scoring at will. And what's absolutely insane to watch is that during his first 50 or so points, because Grinnell did have a lot of offensive weapons, Jack was actually left wide open several times, and he certainly capitalized. This leads us to a quick halftime break where, in my opinion, Jack's ability to count has to be called into question. Just kidding, but what I mean here is that somehow when headed into the locker room, Taylor was under the impression that while he was certainly having a great game, he wasn't exactly having a historic game. He believed that he only had 30 points, but as he remembered, quote, "Coach walked in with a stat sheet and said I had 58. You could see the team's eyes light up," which meant from there, Grinnell only had one goal in mind. It was Jack Taylor's night. It was Grinnell's mission to have Jack Taylor break the scoring record. This meant that in the second half, things only got more crazy as Taylor seemingly could not miss and would finish the second half with a jaw-dropping 80 points in a single half, which meant for the game, he had 138 points. And again, during this game, Jack had some kind of counting problem as he remembers, quote, "I would look out at the crowd at the student section and everyone had their phones up recording. I was like, wow, I must have like 100 points or something. And so then after the game, I realized I had 138 points. 138 points in a single game. What in the actual..." Again, once news broke that a player had scored that many points in a single basketball game, people went nuts. Carmelo Anthony was quoted as saying, "I never heard of nothing like that. That's like a video game. How can you shoot 100 times though?" Yeah, by the way, Jack actually finished the game shooting 52 for 108 shots. Meanwhile, Kobe had this exchange. Kobe, "Holy shit, how many points did they score as a team?" The reporter, 179. Kobe, "What?" The reporter, "No other other starter had double figures. Kobe, that's incredible. The reporter, dude on the other team scored 71 points and lost. Which brings us to another side note. You heard that right, a player on the other team had 70 points actually and lost. This game just keeps on getting better. Anyway, back to Kobe. That's amazing. He must have been wearing the Mambas, man. Only Mambas have no conscience to shoot the ball like that. The reporter, if you did that, would people be celebrating you? Kobe, would people be celebrating me if I scored 138 points? You know how it is. Some people would, some people wouldn't. They can all kiss my as I'm sure he feels the same way. If you score 138 points, you have a license to tell people to off. That is amazing. You gotta love getting some love from the Black Mamba himself. Also, credit to Kobe for the self-advertising there. Moving on, seeing as Jack Taylor had just set an NCAA record and was a scoring machine at this point, you'd think that he had some other big-time scoring outputs before this game. However, surprisingly, Jack said the most points he scored in a single high school game was just 48, almost only 1/3 of his record-breaking performance. This was truly a game for the ages, but you have to wonder, how did all of this happen? Well, to start off here, what made Jack Taylor such a dominant player at the Division III level was that he was actually a Division I prospect at one time, but due to a knee injury, instead was forced to rehab and lost any chance of playing Division I ball. In my opinion, this would become a blessing in disguise, as he not only owns a national record for points in a single game, but also, it seems he certainly enjoyed his time playing at Grinnell. And a huge reason for that, as well as the other huge reason for why Jack was able to score over 100 points 2 times in his Grinnell career, was that Grinnell had the most unique and fast-paced system in the entire country.
We have a philosophy in the system where you shoot to get hot and you shoot to stay hot.
It was transition up and down, threes, dunks, layups, crowd was going crazy. It was absolutely nuts.
Helter skelter. It seemed like they have 8 guys on the floor.
They don't care.
Yes, as just a Division III school, Grinnell went from a team that had 27 consecutive losing seasons to a nationally known program because head coach David Arsenault developed a game-changing system. And what exactly was that system? Well, in a normal Grinnell game, when someone wasn't going off and about to score over 100 points, the team's goal was to play as fast as possible. This meant that Grinnell would sub in 5 players at a time every 30 to 60 seconds in order to make sure that everyone was ready to go 100% in their extremely fast style of play. On offense, their goal was to take over half of their shots from the 3-point line and to get a shot up before 12 seconds had passed on every single offensive possession. Then, to make things even crazier here, was that on defense, yes, Grinnell pressed in order to force a fast style of play, but they also focused on offense so much to the point where they often had 1 or 2 players stand at the half-court line on defense in order to basically cherry pick. This, of course, was a completely out-of-the-box way to play basketball, but the thing is, Grinnell's system works. It has led to several winning and successful seasons, and on top of that, it has led to a lot of records. Grinnell holds the record for most 3-pointers in a single game. They had a player named Patrick Mayer who set the record for most assists in a single game with 37. They basically lead the nation in scoring every single year. When it comes to offensive records, it seems like there are too many to name. And yes, it was this system that allowed Jack Taylor to score 138 points in a single game, and it was this system that saw him score 109 points in a game the very next season. As previously mentioned, he also led the nation in scoring as a junior and a senior. However, coming full circle here and answering the question, why did Jack Taylor never play in the NBA? It was also this system that can be pointed as one of the main reasons why Jack never played professional basketball. When it comes down to it, Jack's points were certainly inflated due to the system he was playing in, and he even admits that, quote, "I'm not the greatest college basketball player of all time. I'm probably the worst player to ever score over 100 points." But still, despite the system and despite the fact that he was playing Division III, 138 points in a game is 138 points. The man could fill it up, and it was somewhat surprising that Jack never played at least some form of professional basketball. He did enter his name into the NBA draft, but went undrafted, and then, instead of trying to play overseas, Jack just gave basketball completely up, which might surprise you, at least until you learn that to Jack Taylor, faith in God is everything. When Jack scored 138 points, he believed this was God's way of allowing him to gain a platform where he could preach the messages he believed in. Unfortunately for Jack, the media did not see it that way and did not want to allow him to spread his religion. They focused on the basketball aspect of things. This to me is certainly understandable. We basically never hear athletes talk about religion. However, this was a huge blow to Jack, as he has said said, quote, "It'd just been everything I had been dreaming about as a kid, and I slowly started to realize when the media goes away, naturally my heart and my soul craved more. I thought that once I had made it, I'd be fulfilled, I'd be happy, but it didn't fulfill me in a way that my faith did. And so I realized, like, okay, basketball let me down. It made promises that it couldn't deliver. I don't even pick up a basketball anymore. I don't coach. I don't watch." So there we have it. Ironically, Jack Taylor's biggest moment of his basketball career actually turned him against the sport he had loved all his life. Nowadays, Jack is working as a videographer and he's founded a media company, so he's doing just fine. I do want to say though that for such a wild story, this is a very surprising ending to me. I would have thought that Jack would have at least tried to play overseas basketball, but I certainly respect his decision to follow his heart here. He did what he felt was right, and to me, that is really awesome. But that said, guys, this video is over, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember, the goal in 2021 is 2 million subscribers, so if you are new to this channel, please make sure to subscribe so we can hit that goal. You guys have been crushing it with the support lately. Thank you so much. All it takes from you is one click of a button to subscribe, and once you're subscribed, you will never miss a single video, which I think is well worth it. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome. We all know it, and as always, have an awesome day, guys, and cue that music. If you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. Make sure to click on one of them. Again, I know you're gonna love it, and other than that, have a great day and peace.